Okay, let's see if this one actually works. So, sorry, friends. If you were confused by the crazy amounts of scheduled uploads, that was me trying to go live desperately from John Stoker's house at first, where the internet just kind of died. And then I drove into the town of Jackson in the Motherlode and tried to find a business still open that would have Wi-Fi. Of course, all the Starbucks are closed and all that. I got there sometime around 9:30, and then this hotel had 200 megabits per second upload speed, and I thought, wow, that's amazing. And set up my computer, set up a little mini camera and all that, and lo and behold, Streamlabs would just connect and optimize, and then failure to connect. Great. So I really thought it was me. It was something wrong that I was doing, and I had just taken my mom's laptop as I left Oregon around the July 3rd because my super laptop died. The Wilbs, oh hey Wilbur, how are you? Thanks for being here. Am I taking care of myself and getting plenty of rest? Well, no, I'm live from a McDonald's parking lot at like 1 in the morning, so the answer, I guess, is no. It's hard to sleep on this one. This is a bad one. I've been working on it since 8 p.m. at least. Just hard trying to go live. Lo and behold, it turns out that after many different programs being installed and many settings being altered, the hotel at the casino I went to, Rancheria, I believe it's called, just seems to block streaming so that people can't go live. And a lot of hotels and casinos do that. You know, they're not too keen on people like trying to cheat gambling and upload, and I didn't think of that. Um, the hotel staff told me there were no restrictions, but they weren't network technicians. They didn't really know. So sorry for the horrible lighting in here. It's a car, you know. So I've been listening to Scanner Radio for most of the day, probably from 4 p.m. until now. And this is about as bad as a fire can get with the current conditions of the weather. I would just say it like this: with the Oak Fire, if I were 20 miles downwind of it, I would start thinking of packing up my stuff because it has long range spotting where the fire will be here, but the wind will blow the, the embers over here and start a fire there. So if your house is in between, you think, oh, I just have to wait for the main fire to get towards me, and if it gets closer, I'll leave. You may find yourself trapped because you'll get in your car in a panic and find fire has already been in front of you. And this is, I imagine, what's been trapping a lot of people. So far, I heard that everybody's gotten out, and I've been using Twitter and Scanner Radio as my sources of info. Now I'm going to try to put the radio back on my Bluetooth. I've got a second cell phone doing the Scanner Radio, and then my old Pixel, the Chaos phone, is right here for the stream. I can't really do both. Now, if we suddenly disconnect, that's because I'm in a McDonald's parking lot, and it's 1 in the morning, and they're closed, but I see people sweeping and stuff in there, and I'm just, pulled up, and it connected, so I don't know if you guys can hear that.
I know there's a Charlie down there, or a Bravo possibly. He's one of the area down on Golden.
There isn't as much radio chatter at night. Fires tend to kind of die down a little bit at night. I don't know if any of you guys are having problems with the alert wildfire. Cams just viewing them. Maybe it's the equivalent of DDoS with the whole world trying to tune in, but it's everything I've been seeing on Twitter from the independent journalists. And everything has been really bad. You can hear it? Cool. Yeah, other than that, Wilbur, and thanks for being here to help mod. I have been catching up on my rest, but it's been a grueling filming schedule. I'm down here staying very close to where the Caldor fire started. And C-Probe's been awesome, taking me up in this plane that he has, and it's like a rental, and we went flying around, and I had to learn on the fly how to film from the air, just trying to capture the enormity of the Caldor fire in some sort of a documentary form. I met some people that might want to be interviewed later. Yeah, it was tons of fun, but I've been on Dramamine and just been utterly sick and trying to. Sorry, I'm listening to the radio and trying to adjust to that. But we finally got it. We finally nailed it after days of trying and not really getting usable stuff to film. We got it, and so I'm so grateful to C Probe and John Stoker for hosting me. I've been in California since the 3rd of July, and it just seems like that. Everything was wrecked with my plans. You know, the electrifier broke out. We had to rush John Stoker home because his neighborhood was under evacuation advisory and maybe mandatory at one point. It's just luck and just the awesome power of CAL FIRE and the local first responders that the electrifier didn't go and become gigantic. So we're very grateful about that, but I've been breathing in the smoke and not doing too well with it and getting really car sick and plane sick and driving incredible amounts of miles and burning through cash like that. Trying to buy cheap hot dogs at the store. John's like feeding me his food. I'm really grateful to everybody who's helped donate to keep me down here for so long. There's just so much to film. I've driven to Tahoe a couple of times now and run out of batteries and run out of daylight to even do the perimeter of the Caldor. I haven't even gone to the interior by car yet. Well, I did it one time at night, but not for filming. It's just gigantic. I mean, if you watch the airplane footage we got, it's just the devastation just rolls by. For 19 minutes. And we were going 150 miles an hour. Ground speed, right? If I remember right. So it's hard to even comprehend, and the Dixie was much larger. So right now it's just general chatter. Hang on. I'm actually not on the main channel that everybody else is on. I'm on Mariposa County CAL FIRE Sheriff and Public Works. I only have the right channel going because that's local dispatch. Local dispatch is on the left. So I'll try to interpret anything they say to you. Right now they're just kind of maneuvering around. I can't see much. Twitter feed. I'm looking at the latest news. And if you want to check out the Twitter, which is what I post on whenever I can't, do face-to-face live, then it's @KWildfires. Real simple. And warning though, burning structures and really shocking images are sometimes on the Twitter feed. Things I don't put on stream because I prefer that people not be traumatized again. Just get the information that they need. A lot of people tune out if things are too graphic. If things pull up PTSD situations. What happened to my good computer? Well, I mean, the desktop is sitting at home because it weighs 50 pounds and it has a glass side, and it's very hard to find a desktop tower that has handles and can fit everything I need for video streaming. I mean, I've got multiple 10 terabyte hard drives. And listen to radio again. I mean, there's an enormous amount of storage space that you need to save that. It makes it very fragile too, because I'd rather have all solid state drives, which are really robust, but if you jostle spinning hard drives, you could lose everything. And I've thought about making a separate desktop PC that I could take around for streaming, but what I do takes like 20 gigs of RAM. So I have 32 in the desktop, and a bunch has to be free for the computer to go. It's extremely intensive with the video card, and I've got a 5-pound, 800-watt power supply in it. So wherever I would take that thing, I'd also need to find a monitor and someone.
4354. You got an assignment.
Okay, it's just an engine asking for an assignment. Could crews continue to pour into the Mariposa County to try to assist? And that's been really good with mutual aid. It's been heartwarming, but it takes a long time for crews to get there. I don't think fire activity has died down as much as we would hope at night, you know, just because it gets cooler.
They work that area, or you have to work down further on Carl, towards, a little bit of space, more down towards, is it more lane? We'll put them on Carlton, Indian Rock, and start on that work that whole area.
Okay, they're deploying to
It's 13
Indian Rock.
moving down Carlton, the opposite direction of the fire. Copy.
The orders are keep
We'll
moving.
eventually tie into Silva, so you take Carlton, Silva.
Please move down Carlton in the opposite direction of the fire. That was just over the radio. So they're positioning teams, but their radios are really crackly, really bad, really staticky. I would listen for like 40 minutes and barely be understanding half of what they said, you know, through Broadcastify. And it's not anyone on Broadcastify's fault. It's their radio reception is terrible. We need to put high-speed internet in the countryside.
And Triangle, deputy there.
There's still Triangle was breached a long time ago, but they're still working in that area, just trying to do what they can, and using it as a route. It looks like the FIRIS, F-I-R-I-S, don't know if I'm saying that right. If you look at that on Twitter, that'll show you the infrared mapping is taking place right now with the plane zigzagging around. So if I refresh Twitter in my hand, it's just bad stuff. The images are really bad. I would be ultra careful. Any journalists going nearby, get a shake and bake or don't arrive there. If you don't know what a shake and bake is, you shouldn't arrive there. It's if you can't deploy one in less than 1 minute, you're probably dead. It's the fire tent, like a sleeping bag that's fireproof. And McDonald's employees are walking out, not even giving me a second look. I'm just idling in the parking lot. I figured they'd be like, what are you doing here? Well, that's a lot to explain, actually. But hopefully we don't get disconnected. I hope the Wi-Fi stays on all night. I will have to sleep eventually, but I wanted to give you guys an update on my struggles with trying to go live. I had a $2,500 laptop.
Validated. Let me check with Mariposa and I'll get that for you.
Anyway, oh yeah.
Most of my openers get here around 4-ish.
Oh, okay.
So if you're just out by then, okay?
Oh, of course. I'm doing.
You're good. I get. You're probably getting the Wi-Fi. That's what I
Yes.
figure.
Yeah.
If you park over there, you're fine. If you got if you got to sleep or anything, that's fine over there. Just because that's not part of our parking lot. I was just letting you. Okay.
Oh, that's very sweet of you.
No
Thank you
problem.
so much.
You're good.
Yeah. Have a great night. Oh, they're so sweet. They're like, yeah, we figured you're using the Wi-Fi, but don't park in the handicapped spot because 4 in the morning the openers will come. That's very cool. I think McDonald's is awesome. So the images on Twitter are shocking. At K Wildfires, I pretty much just retweet what other people are doing who actually have good internet access. I thought it was going to be fiber optic at John Stoker's place. They laid the lines, but then they delayed the implementation. So, like, fiber optic is in the ground, but somebody needs to push a button, so he's still on DSL, and it's just not cutting it for upload speed. So, not only would I have to tow around, like, a really robust, either like a $3,000 gaming laptop would do for what I do, it'd still be a lot slower than my desktop. It would be serviceable, but I'd have to pair that with very fast internet. Upload speed is critical, and then download speed's critical because I'll be streaming multiple videos at once and have like 65 tabs open, as usual, especially if there's multiple fires. Because right now, MariposaCounty.org, I believe, is where the most of the evacuation info is at, and you get the maps. The Twitter people are doing a great job that I'm retweeting. The relay network is strong, but I can't tell you how much that this is a dangerous fire. Long range spotting of 4 miles is serious. So if smoke ever comes your way from a mega fire, I really don't care how far away you are. Like if you're within 15 miles, 20 miles, I would consider having everything packed, and I wouldn't sleep on the fire. I would sleep in shifts with my family members. Constantly listening to the radio, that's what's going to save your life. Over the radio is your first sign that something's going terribly wrong. That it's jump lines, that the containment's been breached, whatever's happening, or that your neighborhood's in danger. They will say it on the radio first. They will say, evacuate such and such neighborhood. And live on the stream last year and the year before, we've been able to get people to evacuate and get the word out, even an hour before it gets on Twitter from a sheriff's office. We've evacuated towns a day ahead of when they were going to be evacuated. Just give yourself that extra time, get more of your possessions out, check on your neighbors, get your livestock out. And remember to put people in your car before possessions. Even if you don't like somebody, it's their life. It's a crisis. Come together with your neighbors, check on them. And if they won't leave or if they can't, make sure their car starts. Ask them what they need. Give them $20 for gas, whatever they need. Take it out of your lawnmower. But make sure they're mobile and following you. Because my brother's heartbreaking story is a bunch of his neighbors he thought were following him didn't make it out of paradise. So, short of being there myself to witness it, I've seen enough on camera to know this is a super dangerous one. You cannot outrun fire downwind. Know your shelter in place options, and that's going to be check out, maps, CalTopo, even regular Google Maps. Put it in terrain mode and look where bodies of water go underneath the road. That's going to be a bridge or a culvert, and those are good options. If you find yourself, chased by the fire and trying to drive away from it, don't race around. You've got to drive pretty carefully. It's going to be like driving in thick fog with a 15-foot visibility of that. Mark on your map places of culverts. Drive to them ahead of time and look under and see if you can fit inside. Most people die in their cars trying to escape wildfire when the window of opportunity to escape by car has closed. So if you know that the fire is behind you and the wind's blowing embers in front of you, you could do a couple of turns 5 miles down the road and find a huge wall of flames in front of you and now a huge wall of flames behind you. But don't panic. If you know where the culverts and the little bridges are, stop your car and do not move from a place that you know is safe. Get out, get underneath the bridge, get in the culvert. If you know of a big parking lot, it's open, a big dirt field, something where nothing around to burn, something like a golf course or like a big pond or something to retreat to. Don't drive into the unknown where safety is not guaranteed and leave a place where safety is guaranteed. You can't swim, forever. If you have a body of water like a pond or pool, you have to be able to not tread water, but plant your legs down. Throw a wool blanket over your head. It's going to be quite heavy, but you can trap breathable air against it. And chill, ride it out. If the whole landscape's on fire around you and you can't drive through it, don't try to drive through flames. Do something like that. Culverts are a wonderful shelter. And it's a myth that all the oxygen's going to be sucked out or whatever. That could happen in a closed room in a structure fire, but look, the fire needs oxygen, so it's always sucking new oxygen to itself. Otherwise, it would have extinguished, right? So it'll feel like you can't breathe, but it'll be okay. So what people have been giving me feedback on is that there's a lot of dead trees in the area, so the fires are going to go straight to the top of the trees, and then little bits of the pine cones and the leaves and the embers are just going to fly right off, fly in these winds from elevation down to the valley and long range spot. This is the biggest problem that they have with containment. Fire crews have already run for their lives several times and asked aircraft to wet them down as they left. It's been really hairy even for them to survive. Don't think you can do garden hose defense or anything of the sort. So, Blazing Trumpet says, ever since the bark beetles, the bark beetles rampage through that area, and someplace like 70% of the trees are dead. And you have to salvage log that, get these trees on the ground. Otherwise, you have the situation that we have, long-range spotting from dead trees where the fire goes all the way up to the top of them. And those little embers go in the wind. It's just like a paper airplane. You toss it from the top of a building, it goes further. That's the way it works. So with these national forests and stuff, there's usually no, excuse me, I'm trying to look at chat. It keeps going away. Yeah, Blazing Trumpet says, I bet the store burned up. I lived right by the fire station on Highway 140 near the old store. Yeah, I remember going there such a long time ago in childhood. We are going to take heavy losses, that's for sure, with people's residences and with history and with the environment. So, best view on the Oak Fire right now, chat disappeared again, is Braden E. Nelson. Hey, hi again. Sorry, it's tiny words on the screen. Miami Peak 1 and alertwildfire.org. Yeah, it's unreal. Everything that on those cams is unreal. And then there's some live chopper footage that was incredible from KCRA earlier. That's still on, their YouTube channel. I would check that out to see the elephant. See the elephant means shattering your illusions about, oh, is this kind of small? No, it's not small. It's huge. Something that produces a pyrocumulus cloud, also kind of like a mushroom cloud, like a nuke, within a couple hours of starting is pretty insane. So it's this is quite a bad one. Aircraft will be the main factor in turning the tide, just like pretty much always in such terrain. Wow, Blazing. The double rainbow guy? You interviewed the double rainbow guy? He's dead? Oh. Rip. Do you have that on tape? That would be amazing to see. That guy was funny. That's sad. He died of COVID. It's my theory is 2020 never really ended, and someday it'll end. We'll go back to the ordinary world. Either that, or we're stuck in the twilight zone. Oh, you interviewed him back in 2013. Wow. In what capacity? Like journalism, or just like you knew him? Wow. So I really regret that I'm not home in a way, but I'm really glad that I'm not. Don't say we can't mention drugs on streams, okay? That's one of the no-nos. No, I marked it as, family friendly. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. He invited me back when he first got famous, but he lived back there. Wow. Is that where the double rainbow was? I'll tell you what, I saw a California condor day before yesterday in Amador County. First time in my life seeing one flying free. I was like, that turkey vulture is looking weird. It doesn't have a gull wing. It's straight out, and it's huge, and it's just like spreads its wings and goes into the sky, riding thermals. And other smaller birds went next to it, and I realized those were eagles, and they were smaller birds. And zoomed in. I may have gotten it on film, not really sure. Have to go look. But wow, it was incredible. So I don't think I got good footage of it, but wow. So somebody says thistles and blackberry weeds. Right, of course. Thistles and blackberries, of course. So let me turn Bluetooth back on and make sure that I'm still streaming the scanner radio. What I wanted to do was make sure, David says you tack wildfires. No, I track wildfires. I'm just kidding. NyQuil is better than drugs. Whoa. That's basically like what Dramamine is, and I've been ultra high on that, just trying to deal with plane sickness and driving sickness, because every road in the mother lode is like an old, twisty, windy thing that stagecoaches used to be on, that's not much wider than a stagecoach. I tell you what, I've gotten lost just like an hour ago and found a ghost town with like picture perfect, like time capsule, like here's a 3-story hotel right over a road, ancient oak trees, Chinese cemetery. I like stopped wanting to go, oh my god, I want to show you this history, but then there's a wildfire and I need to get to McDonald's, and like, oh my god, there's history, and I want to, oh my god, there's a wildfire. it's so hard, but I'm just making little notes, go back and film the history. What are my plans? Um, Looks like the radio is just quiet right now. I do have the volume up. My plans might be to return around the first week of August to the Portland area. So, wow, Blazing says, the house I lived on Highway 140 had old ruins of a gold smelter. Wow. Oh, hi, Shaz. Hi. Good to see you. Let me look at chat again. It disappeared. Catherine was thinking about you yesterday. I got inside the priory to film the ruins and the tombstones. Oh, I can't wait to see that, Shaz. Shaz has been inspiring me because she walks around with a cell phone like all around England, and she goes to a dead zone, it reconnects, and she told me that the YouTube app is actually failing. So if you disconnect, you can't reconnect, and that's what the problem was. Like, I streamed for an hour the parade on the 4th of July, and 30 seconds showed up on YouTube, but it showed an hour of it and reconnecting and doing stuff like when I was in the parade. The same thing happened when I tried to go live from the phones and such. It says attempting to reconnect. Same thing when I was, you know what, when David flew me C-Probe, you guys know him as C-Probe, over the Tahoe area the day before yesterday, I actually went live from 11,500 feet near Christmas Valley in Kirkwood. You know, you can look that up on a map if you don't know what I'm talking about, but I got a signal and went live on YouTube at 11,500 feet. He told me later, like, did you feel the pressure difference and the lack of oxygen? And I was like, no. And he said, well, if you're at 12,000 feet, you usually have to mask up for oxygen or you fall asleep at the wheel flying a plane. And I was like, really? Good to know. Do you have oxygen? Hope you do. And then I realized I don't know how to, it's not like a real airplane where like the mask drops and you just put that on. Like, I would have had to reach behind my seat and like assemble some bottles and stuff. I probably would have been like really soon and wake up being shaken awake when he landed or something. You know, that's if, you know, he managed to get his on too if he needed it. So, am I a firefighter? No. So, I'm a hero helper. That's why I've decided to call us. We pass on the information that firefighters and the experts and the officials want people to know. Like all the evacuation info, just factual, straight from the horse's mouth. And when I say my own opinion, I am very clear that it's my opinion. I have a very educated opinion. Having lived in the foothills of California, you know, we had to make fire breaks and ponds and such. We had the privilege to know a lot of the volunteer firefighting brigade, you know, where we lived. And I grew up being prepared for it. And when I realized, you know, with the Paradise Fire and the Cascade Fire of 2017, that a lot of people didn't know what to do, I decided to go live to kind of help educate people. And I was meek about that, like, should I really be saying stuff? But then firefighters came into my chat and said, yes, you should. You know, we know about fire, but we don't know about communication. And so media communication skills are what I have as a wannabe documentary filmmaker. So I had a major in multimedia fine arts, which is doing video, audio, and web design. So I also have the free time to do it. And there's not that many people that have all those three combinations. So what I do is I invite the experts. Real firefighters are some of my mods. They are the ones that show up and they help guide people through things. I ask them questions if I don't know something, and I never pretend to know something. That's good. But oftentimes we, on our channel, have evacuated towns faster than the officials even called for, just because we could see the next step coming. Fire behavior is really easy to understand on the basic level. And
3468 on TAC 7.
The old ways of doing an evacuation are actually outdated. The old ways, I mean, they need to change fast. A lot of times CAL FIRE or other representatives, they want to tell people to evacuate this, this, and this, but there's this old archaic Byzantine procedure of a whole bunch of procedures that they have to do. Sometimes they can just be like, call the sheriff, close that road, knock door to door, you know, in a super emergency. But to call for like a whole community-wide evacuation and go on a press conference and do that. There's a bunch of, in the past it might have worked, whereas if a fire's at point A, alert point B and tell point C that they might have to evacuate. Like, if the fire's at A, B should get ready to go, and C should think about getting ready to go, and that's like the old fire rate of spread where, it would just kind of go in one way and they didn't spread as fast, and mega droughts, climate change, plus a bunch of mismanagement of the landscape, invasive weeds, and a whole bunch of other factors have made things more deadly. So right now, the way that it should be, and the way that we think about things is, what is the weather forecast? Where's the wind going to go? The fire's going to go where the wind goes. So don't be downwind, and move away from the fire based on the forecast. And is there anything to stop a fire? It always goes downwind unless there's something to stop it. Is that impassable terrain like the Pacific Ocean or like a rocky cliff? Is it unbreakable fire lines that are, three black lines deep? Is it because there's a whole bunch of rocky terrain and nothing to burn, for miles, like a bunch of plowed fields? But if the answer is no, if there's nothing to stop it, then it is coming and is going to hit you. So if you're downwind 15 miles away, but it's long range spotting 4 miles ahead of itself, 4 miles ahead of itself, it can spread 10 miles in a day and be halfway to you, depending on what's going on, especially if you're in the canyons as the California mountains slope down. So unlike some of the restrictions that the officials have, where they have to pick up the phone, dial Sacramento and say, hey, dude in Sacramento, we'd like to evacuate these people at the 5 o'clock press conference. If they don't get the approval, they can't announce it. Maybe the approval comes at 5:05, but they're already on stage, like they were at Tahoe with the Caldor fire. They told people at 5 p.m., oh, we're not going to evacuate anybody right now. We'll let you know if we do. And I went, what? Because we had been saying for more than 12 hours Tahoe's in danger because none of the fire lines were complete to save it from the Caldor. The fire was racing up hills, taking out neighborhoods, and ready to rain down embers all over Tahoe. And that's exactly what happened. So we got thousands of people to evacuate early. And sure enough, by 10 p.m., 5 hours after that press conference, when everybody went to bed, took their hearing aids out, and turned off their phones, they tried to go door to door on like 20,000 doors. With a small sheriff posse, that's just not good. So I don't know what the problem is. There's definitely a problem, but reform needs to happen. And until it does, there needs to be a 24-hour resource, official, call center and live broadcast by the officials. Like CAL FIRE should be doing this. Like the government should be doing this. Counties should be doing this. I'm doing this because they're not. And I'm happy to help, but my God, I don't want to do this. It's just somebody has to. So I've gotten hundreds of emails of thank yous, like, because of you, we got out early. And I won't stop because of that. It's erring on the side of caution. And we don't cause a panic. We just tell people the straight facts. Here's the best case scenario, the worst case scenario, in the middle ground. And we don't tell people what to do. I would just tell people what I would do. And based on what I've seen year after year here, is this is bad, and I would get away from it. Like, if it's 3 days away, you have 3 extra days to get your stuff out, to save your heirlooms, to back up your hard drives, to snap photos of a lot of your photo albums with your camera, and do simple things like that. Prepare for your animals to be lodged somewhere. Call residents and say, your friends, that I need a place to stay. Make arrangements, and plan your A, B, and C evacuation routes. Those are 3 main roads in 3 different directions. If you don't have those things, you should always elevate yourself 1 level higher in evacuation priority than the government's even telling you. So if you're on warning, but you live at the end of a gravel road and you can never really drive more than 10 miles an hour on it, or you'd fishtail and whatever, if it takes you 20 minutes to get down to even a paved road and there's only one paved road out, then I would leave way before, uh, during the advisory, not during the mandatory phase. Because the mandatory phase, they just take a chunk of a county and they'll draw the whole county and say this is under advisory or mandatory evacuation. Well, if you were at the top of the hill and you took some time to get down, you're actually way more vulnerable than the people already down on that main road. So just consider things like that. And as you draw with the highlighter on a paper map and put that in your glove box, put little X's of where you think culverts and bridges are. Go and examine those before the fire arrives. See which ones you can get inside. Like I said, if fire's close behind you, you can't outrun it downwind. Don't drive like a madman. Don't hit other vehicles. Don't get in a panic when you turn around the corner and a tree on fire is across the road. Look at your map, know where the culverts are, go back and get in one. And if you think that the road is unsafe ahead, don't leave a spot where you're safe. There's first responders and experts make mistakes. We looked at that New Year's fire, the Marshall fire, I believe, in Colorado, and the police told everybody to get out of Costco's parking lot and clog the highway. And it's like, nope, the Costco parking lot was a perfect place to be. That's safe. Getting on the highway is not safe. There's nothing to burn in a parking lot. A big one. You have to look around, make sure that there's no tall trees that could, if your vehicle's here, if this tree's tall enough to get on it, you'd park back here so the tree would just fall like so. Just kind of common sense stuff. And take like a Swiffer or broom, one of those pole things. Sit there and chill in your car, and if some flaming tumbleweed or something rolls up against your car, just push it out of the way, get back in, and read a book. It'll go past. This is how firefighters survive. We just pass on the knowledge of how do they survive. That's the way you do too. It's a very low success rate of survival when people drive through flames. You see a bunch of dash cam videos of it that are compelling, but guess what? That's just from the survivors. Dash cam footage melted in all the people who didn't make it out. So it's the worst option. Even if you're in a hurry, don't be in a hurry. Keep your head. Now, this will probably be the first mega fire of 2020 for California. I'll have to look at the weather. In fact, that's what we should be doing right now. Let's analyze the weather. Holt Hanley was live. Definitely check out his channel. He's great. Zeke Lunder, another awesome, analyst. And sorry, didn't read chat. Braden says your Caldor coverage is what convinced my sister to evacuate South Lake Tahoe early. Exactly. I should be a cadet teacher. Well, I'll do what I can. Education videos, what I want to do is make 5-minute videos of like, scenario A, do this. Scenario B, do that. And this has been on my to-do list, but it's been just really hard to sit there and produce. With all the devastation, destruction, and chaos, going on. I saw 5 counties that I was very familiar with pretty much burned to the ground in the Dixie Fire, and a lot of family members be affected by it. We didn't lose a lot of structures, but a lot of damage near them where my family has, cabins and such. And it's just, Oregon was devastated too from 2020, and I have a huge to-do list of how to document what happened and people to interview about it. And then it's taken a lot of donation money to get my computer up to snuff where I can really regularly produce high-quality videos. So it's all you guys I have to thank for that. So now I'm set up. I've just bought a super camera, learning how to use it, trying to go as fast as I can. So, but I think that's what YouTube probably needs, is step-by-step. What do you do? Like, fire's upon you, what do you do? 5-minute videos. And that's what I aim to produce. So, looking back at chat, sorry, I have to poke the screen because it keeps going away. David says, like, my dream is to serve my time in the Navy SEALs, right? And probably be a firefighter or cadet teacher, I think, is a good idea. Awesome. Well, Kat, thank you so much for the donation. I'm running out of money on the road. Gas is so insanely expensive, and I've been driving around the perimeter of the Caldor fire, and that's gigantic, if you understand. Gas is $6.10 a gallon, and a Tahoe is $6.75. Um, I drove back to Nevada trying to go 18 miles deeper into Nevada to get cheaper gas because they have more cough sane, gas tax policies in Nevada, but it's bled me dry. So totally appreciative of everybody's help. Thank you. Got my PayPal? Yes, my PayPal, if you go to the channel and go to the About section of my channel, and you click on the K and go to the channel page, you can right click it and open it in a new tab if you're on desktop. There's a link to my PayPal. I can't really do that right now, but PayPal doesn't take a cut. 30% is what YouTube takes if you hit the super thanks or the super stickers. I think that's really evil for a service like I provide, but whatever. Apparently, public service is not like a thing you can click on YouTube. News and media news and events is the category that most closely resembles what I'm doing. But I can't do it alone. Last year when I was sleeping, my mods took over providing people the information where they needed to get information. The firefighters were giving people the straight dope, the info that they need to know to survive. And I need their help too, to, accurately assess what's going on. We've been able to bring a lot of comfort and feelings of relief to a lot of the people who are scared too. Sometimes fire looks worse than it is. So when the people were getting ready to get the heck out of Dodge near Janesville and Susanville, those calm firefighters like, Torin 2, Incognito, and, others, many others, who just said, look, the fire's blazing up on the hills, but there's good lines at the bottom. The humidity's increasing, the wind's dying down, temperature's decreasing, and so you probably don't have anything to fear. Just be vigilant and ready to go. And that's given people a lot of comfort too. It's whether your margin of safety, your percentage of how safe you are. That's a weird way to explain it. I would just say the likeliness of you being safe versus not, is sometimes like 50-50 in some of the iffy fires, but if they've been around and they've started to make lines around your community, it really increases the likeliness of things going okay. You should never get a false sense of security, but don't panic, panic's never going to help. If there's any chance of my life being in danger, I personally just leave. I don't sleep at night knowing that there's a percentage chance I would wake up with my house on fire. That's just me. But I'm glad that we've, given people the information that they needed, because here a fire tops over a ridge in the Dixie Fire last year, and these traumatized people who already went through the Beckworth fire were like, do we have to flee for our lives right now? And it's like, nope, just hold fast. Just be ready, but hold fast. You should leave if you feel uncomfortable, but you don't have to. They're not telling you to. It's advisory, and things are improving. They made a gigantic, wide, what was that highway? The one that goes south of Susanville. They made a huge fire break. They had a lot of units out there, water tenders, and a good network of 24-hour, around-the-clock, people ready to protect the community. So when you factor all that in, you don't have to, a lot of these people are ready to run for their lives for no reason. So I can't tell you what the future is gonna bring, but I can tell you best, worst, and middle ground scenarios, and then you should make the informed decision for yourself. And always obey evacuation orders, just always. They know a lot more than you do about fires, the experts, and if they're saying mandatory, it's for a dang good reason. They don't willy-nilly say mandatory. In the past, it was like a ready, set, go. In a drought like this, third year of La Nina, there's no get set. There's just probably, you're just going to be told to go. Now, be ready already. People ask me, like, what would I take? Would I go around grabbing my heirloom, photo albums? Nope, I photographed all of them. Just opened them and... So I'm not going to waste, all the photograph albums are this thick, and it would probably take 2 steamer trunks to hold all of them. So as bad as losing the originals would be, we wouldn't lose everything. So I took pictures of them real quick, and then I got Backblaze, the online backup software. So, like, would you take your computer? Nope. That's insured. That's replaced. Would I take the photo albums? Nope. I got backup copies in the cloud. What I would do is I would take my bug out bag that I have, take my map, take my plans, put on my shoes that are by the door, take my keys, and then I would be gone. Drill yourself. Can you get out in less than 15 minutes? Make that 10. Time yourself and make sure that you can. Do exactly what firefighters do. Put your turnout gear, right? The clothes you're going to wear to leave next to the door, and your shoes, and the keys right there. And know, I pick up this, I pick up that, I pick up that, I pick up that. I turn the ignition and I go. And all these 5 minutes here grabbing your photo albums, or 5 minutes there doing something else, oh, I forgot my medication. Okay, it's in the bag. It's in the bag. Live out of the suitcase if you're in a huge, fire danger area, so that you know where your stuff is every day. Try to make non-synthetic clothing, because that tends to melt into people. Wool, cotton, that's good stuff, but cotton will kill you if you can get hypothermic at night. Like, if you had to take shelter in a pool, you crawl out and there's nobody around, and you can't really walk because the ground is really hot. So a lot of people just shiver, like soaked in cold water, and get hypothermic by the time they're found the next day. So if you have a wool blanket, not only does it, you're able to get it wet and smother fires with it, like small ones near you, but if embers get on you, it's pretty fire resistant. And if you're wet and it's wet, it still insulates heat when it's wet, so you won't be hypothermic. So a wool blanket and a jug of water in your car is amazing. Do you have an old cell phone? Charge it up and keep that in the glove box, because all the old cell phones will still dial 911. Even if your regular cell phone didn't charge, you lost power in the night, that old cell phone in the glove box can save you. So there's a lot of little things. I want to make little 5-minute videos of all the little tricks and tips. But no, I don't want to waste any time packing my car with anything. It's ready to go. I already know where to go, and the place I'm staying at right now, John Stoker's place, the moderator in El Dorado County, has already been evacuated before with the electrofire. So, it's a wake-up call. I do have my bug out bags. They're by the door. So David says, you are a smart person and should be a cadet teacher. It's a smart idea. Thank you. But I just gather stuff that already works and pull it together. It's tried and true stuff. I really wish I was in charge and I could cut through red tape and the Byzantine system that's in place, but California's politics that's going to take some doing. But the community, even if the government's slow to react, we can take care of ourselves. It's people don't panic when they are informed, and that's all you have to really do. Panic will destroy your ability to think. When you have adrenaline, you think you can look at a map and understand it. I pulled a fire victim out of the house, and I couldn't even remember the address of the house I was staying in, because my mind was blank because of the adrenaline. Adrenaline is a chemical that turns off your thinking functions, your ability to because it's nature's way of telling you to get the heck out, run. Every part of your body is going to be screaming, just run, and your heart will race. And you'll think, oh, what is my own phone number? It'll be that bad when you see a wall of flames or something coming at you. And the way that firefighters don't experience this They don't feel the adrenaline. They walk to work, you know, they lay out the hose and it looks slow and everything to us, but they're doing it so they don't get exhausted. Let me listen to the radio again. Not much going on. It's they drill. When you drill, like practice, you suddenly remember how to do it. Just like riding a bike, you don't have to think. Don't think, just obey. Obey your map with the little X's where the culverts are. That's a lot of static. I'm going to turn that down. Obey authorities, what they're telling you to do, but, you know, cops don't know what to do as much as firefighters do. If cops are telling you, "Whoa, scream down that road," you know, go, 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 but you're in a parking lot that's perfectly safe, say no thanks. Like the fire in New Year's, that Marshall fire in, what was it, Colorado? You know, the cops told everybody to get out of the Costco parking lot. They should have gathered everybody to the safe center of the Costco parking lot. People on foot should have been put in the cop cars so they could breathe, you know. Do have your N95s. Keep buying those for wildfire season. Those are the best things that'll keep you from being exhausted. I did not have an N95 when I evacuated my mother from the Beachy Creek fire and breathing the smoke. You know, I've got decent athleticism. I'm not super robust, but just loading a few trunks into the car made me sit down and pant. And it's the tiny particulates that you can't see. They could even penetrate the blood-brain barrier. Like they're linked to dementia. Like they really do a number on you, and you'll just be fatigued, ultra fatigued, and stinging eyes. You won't be able to see. Hot ash just blowing in your eyes constantly. Just be prepared for all that. Put an N95 on, and all of a sudden you feel like, oh, I can breathe. You still have energy. You can still walk. You can still do something. So those should be in the glove box. And let about 5 to 8 pounds of pressure out of your tires, depending on what kind of tires you have. If you have to drive over hot pavement like in a wildfire, the air is going to expand and explode your tires. This is what strands a lot of people, and another reason why escape by car is one of the #1 fatalities. People don't understand that hot pavement is going to blow their tires up, so let out some of the pressure. Just have this all ready. Check your oil, check your radiator, check your power steering fluid, check everything. Make sure it's all good right now. And have a plan B. Maybe the moment that the fire hits, you're already surrounded. What do? Have your plan, not B, A, B, and C are your 3 evacuation routes in 3 directions, but D, shelter in place. It's not your house. It's that culvert, that pond, that, you know, that green, absolute, you know, green, like golf course lawn with expanses all around. That's where firefighters go, and they let fires just pass by. You know, green golf courses don't burn up. The sand trap, you know, sit right there. Put that blanket over you, or be there, you know, drive through a fence if you have to with your car, but get into like a construction zone, big box store parking lot. And then there's the rivers and things under bridges. But don't drive through flames. That's not very often a good outcome. The survival tips, I think, this is why I'm talking right now from a car, are what need to be discussed the most. Other people are telling you what the fire's doing on Twitter, where is it going, how big is it, here's this, you know, photograph, but the survival tips are the most important right now to get out as a message, and that's what was killing me today. From, you know, 7 o'clock to midnight, I was trying to go live. Just didn't know that the hotel at the casino I went to, I was troubleshooting it for 2 hours. Whoops. Troubleshooting it for 2 hours just to find out, like, the network blocks streaming. Oh well. Wildcat says, and thank you for the compliment, David. That's very kind of you. So, if you want to get into firefighting, that's awesome. You let me know. I mean, that would be the kind of career I would get into, but I'm medically fragile. So I really wanted to be a first responder, so this was the best way I could help with the medical conditions I have. Wildcat says, I'm still looking for work, but hopefully it'll be enough for a gas tank and meals. They're hiring, you know, Forest Service and such. They're hiring really good right now. I wish you luck too. And thank you for the tip. I can get like 4 gallons of gas thanks to you. Wee! Good night and get some sleep too. Yeah, I'm about to wrap this up. And there's not much more I can say. The radio's gone pretty silent. I'm listening to the CAL FIRE, Sheriff and Public Works in Mariposa County. Most people are tuned in to the other general channel, but I found this one was a bit more, important. Victoria Neeson says houses being impacted on Triangle Road. Residents are still there. Why? I would not be within 10 miles of this fire right now. Just get away from it. If the wind... See, here's the thing. Oh, I'll be safe upwind is another deadly assumption. These fires that make a pyrocumulus cloud, the one that looks like a nuke.
The triangle 40, is there a way to get through there?
Speak of the devil. You're talking about trying to get to Triangle.
It's fine for water, I'll be back. And have you been staging? So, resources Egypt, you're at? Van Ness and what? Okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay, firefighters are staging at Van Ness and still trying to push their way into Triangle in creative ways. Yeah, I think most people got trapped at Triangle. I don't want to say, I didn't mean to be like, oh, why are people still there, like they had a choice.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
A lot of times they are the last people to know what the fire is doing because the fire chews through the telephone lines, the internet lines, and they lose power and they see nothing. If you find yourself in that situation and smoke's going towards you, leave. Don't wait to be told. Leaving before you're told is always the best option. While that window of opportunity is still there to leave by vehicle. And I just pray for everybody involved here. Thank you, Wildcat. I really, really appreciate it. Anybody who wants to donate but can't, just donate your time. Just be here, hit the like button, share the stream so that we can help others. I feel really bad. I kind of had a feeling that if a big fire broke out in July, my plan was, just play it by ear. I thought I had, a place with good internet to establish at. I'm trying to look at my options. Maybe I should get a hotel or something that has good Wi-Fi or find a business that cooperates. Or maybe I should just go home to cover this from home. But man, gas prices are so crazy. I don't think I could come back here within months to finish the documentary. I'm in the middle of filming it, so I'm super torn. I do have some family in the valley, but that's not where I need to be filming. I'm really torn about it, so I'll be looking at my options. If they have better days, and then I said we were going to check the weather until I forgot about it. Look, I'm upwind is not a good defense because these fires make their own weather. Pyrocumulus cloud is forming because there's so much of an updraft that all the wind starts twisting. And when it starts twisting, it's like a giant stationary tornado, a vortex. We saw them 2,500 feet tall in the Dixie Fire with the world's first thermal imaging into a mega fire that I know of. I tell you what, that new technology is giving us a lot of answers, like what goes on in the middle of that inferno that nobody can survive to film. And technology will one day make firefighting very easy, but we're just not there yet. We're going up that hill. Eventually, we'll hit a cusp, and then boom, wildfire firefighting will be trivial. But that'll be when we can fight it at night, just like during the day, with automated aircraft and fleets of drones going out there doing scouting. And when we have clear communications in the boonies, just like you would have high-speed communication and radios in an urban environment, all those things have to line up, and then we'll see better days. But for now, we're in the Wild West. Let's check NOAA weather. The app that I have.
If you go past him where he's at the intersection of Alton and Triangle, did you drop Triangle to the top there, the point where the fire? You want to take a look at it, see if there's an opportunity up there where the fire's at, died down, if you could start going direct off the Triangle, basically towards the in Rock Lane, or next stop. I don't know if that's doable. Hey, is the seat that drives off? Yeah, and I don't know if, around that corner, kind of transitions to Oak Grass, and there's a spot. Maybe we could start test line and push it to the south there a little. Like I said, I have to look at it if you can. I understand. I'm looking on the map. It looks like there's an area where you can lighter fuel.
Okay, that's awesome. If I have a moment to talk, that's great. They're saying where the fires died down a little bit, they're sending crews to go check it out and scout it and see if they can go direct.
Okay, thanks.
That's over by Triangle.
70.
If they can do that, that's the best hope. Stop it at night before noon the next day. There's this mantra we learned in the 1933 Tillamook burn. You need to stop a big fire by noon the next day, otherwise it'll just blow up. And noon is when you get the sun.
Rock Lane, and I want to put you guys there on Indian Rock Lane. There's the road off the right of Carlton.
They're deploying over by Indian Rock Lane and the road off of Carlton, and they're going to try to scout Triangle and try to maybe get in front of it. Now, if the night crew can do that, that would be amazing. That is going to be their best chance. 8 o'clock in the morning to 9 is when the aircraft start slamming it again, and aircraft turn the tide. But if the night shift can make headway and prevent a little bit of the forward spread, then that'll be amazing. But the winds and the temperatures, humidity goes down, all that stuff gets worse by noon the next day. So everything will ride on tomorrow morning. Well, this morning, what is it? It's 2 in the morning. I didn't realize that. I have no sense of time. People are like, why don't you go to bed?
We're going to bump down. There's nothing on the side of my structure. We're going to come back and check on it here a little bit.
Okay. They're protecting structures, which is good. I know that there's some amazing footage going to come out of this later when they have their helmet cams and stuff. When the journalists start uploading tomorrow. But really, if you're a journalist or somebody going to cover the fire, you have to have training on how to get into a emergency shelter, a shake and bake, in less than 1 minute. If you don't know how to do that and you don't have one, don't go. This one's a serious one. There's cameras. Don't be the moth to the flame, right? Really, really corny example, but it's apt. So what I'm hearing is that they're seeing an opportunity, and they're going to try to verify it. And around Triangle Lane, they might be able to push back and go direct to attack it. Nighttime is usually when the fire is like down for the count. It's like a video game where the undefeatable dragon is like super strong, but then like 5 seconds goes by where it's panting and it's vulnerable, and so you go, and you just dodge it the rest of the time and wait till it's vulnerable, and that's exactly the way that wildland firefighting is sometimes. So I'm looking at the Mariposa County's general weather outlook. So on NOAA weather, Mariposa County, California, overnight it's going to be about 70 degrees, mostly clear, a north-northeast wind at only 5 miles an hour. Good. Saturday tomorrow, well actually, yeah, Saturday today, high 94, sunny, light and variable wind becoming southwest 5 to 10 miles an hour in the morning, but that's not counting the wind that the fire is going to generate for itself. It's big enough to do that. On Sunday, 96, calm wind becoming west-southwest around 5 miles an hour in the afternoon. Winds could gust as high as 15 miles an hour. So it looks like tomorrow's a critical, mild weather day with not that much wind. If they really don't get it under control by noon tomorrow, or turn the tide, I would say, by noon tomorrow, then we're looking at a long haul slog because it'll worsen by Sunday's weather if the forecast holds. So just fingers crossed and hope and prayers for all involved fighting this. This is a bad one. This has the potential to kill civilians and crews. It almost did so earlier today. Several dozen people.
Leave at headquarters now. Do you want to meet in that location where we were earlier?
Got close to losing their lives today. 7 people trapped in a house and 2 crews that called a mayday and asked for aircraft to escort them out. Maybe aircraft even splashed them and their stuff as they were leaving. It was pretty hairy. So don't underestimate this one, and it's all riding on from what happens now to noon.
You'll see us here right parked on the road.
I'll try to sleep.
Be by any chance is Alpha with you?
But today was my day off after a grueling week of filming. Just after I took Benadryl and figured I could take a nap, this is when this broke out. So, no rest. That's the way it is. But I went outside on the deck and was watching the Fiddletown fire. I'm glad that was limited to an acre or 2. The helicopters went over the house I was staying in, and I was distracted by looking at that. I walked back inside and everybody goes, Mariposa. Oh dear. So I actually saw the helicopters peel away from Fiddletown fire and head south.
Be there in about 15 minutes.
I hope they do aerial nighttime fighting. I don't know if Colson Aircraft is still doing it. I saw their Hercules working the fire today. But if they can get nighttime aircraft on it, oh, that would be amazing. I didn't see it when I was checking flight radar earlier, but they've been kind of absent so far. They were returning for service in California. It's like, dude, just 24-hour standby. That's what it needs to be. We need to have fleets of them. Having 2 of them, okay. Expedite that. Anyways, but if I were in charge, things would be different. That's all I gotta say. Why can't I be in charge, right? Government bureaucracy, red tape is the biggest killer right now. So I hope all of you are going to be staying safe and healthy. This is one to watch. I'll check in tomorrow if I can, but I'll still be. Somebody else donated. I don't know who. Gosh, chat went by. Whoever else donated, thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are keeping me here. Oh, Mark, hey, welcome. Everybody stay safe. Keep looking up. Worn out from a medical procedure today, Mark. Oh, I'm so glad that you're with us. No, you look like you were pretty sick last year. You're falling asleep. Good night. Good night. I'm going to leave too because I got to drive back into the mountains where I'm staying in El Dorado County. And I'll let you guys know what my plans are. Twitter is @KWildfires. K the letter. And I'll be tweeting up a storm. There's a good network of people that inform the public now, from the local authorities, the statewide authorities, and volunteers like you and me. It's good to be part of a movement and not feel completely alone like I did in 2020. So, thank you all. I'm going to sign off now and drive carefully home. I'm a night owl, so I'm good at night. Clear, you know. It's like mid-afternoon is when I feel like, most people would feel like 3 in the morning for them. But, radio, let's see if that's anything important. Nope. Okay, thank you all for the support. Hit the like button on your way out. Thanks. If you want to know when I go live next, hit the subscribe button and make sure the ringing bell is attached, because otherwise YouTube doesn't really notify you of anything. Make sure on your phone that YouTube, the app, is allowed to notify you of things, push notifications. You need that set up. And if you're on Android and it's got that stupid remove permissions and free up space, slam that thing into oblivion, turn that off. That's just ridiculous. Get the Watch Duty app, and that's marvelous. That's amazing. And select the 4 counties that you are nearest for alerts with Watch Duty. Watch Duty is the #1 fastest way to know anything happening during a wildfire. It's on Android and iOS. And everybody stay safe out there. And Good night and good luck.